Infrastructure, public safety, transportation, those are all issues that community leader Jesse Williams wants to tackle if he's elected the next councilman for Charleston County Council's District 3 seat. I speak exclusively with Jesse for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on social media. Jesse Williams, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
You're welcome, anytime. Obviously, we know that you are a community leader. Obviously, you're very heavily involved with education. You grew up off of, obviously, Glen Terrace in North Charleston. You know about North Charleston politics because you actually ran against Dorothy Williams for North Charleston City Council.
Yes.
But now you want to run for Charleston County Council's District 3 seat.
Yes.
Tell me why Jesse Williams, why Charleston County Council?
Well, I have spoken at county council in the past, and I've seen some of the issues and how much impact that district, the county council, has on North Charleston and has on the regional area. So it's just so many different reasons, like infrastructure. I was looking at that and how they developed on the northern part of Ingleside Drive, and that impacts the residents in a big way, and then just different areas in County Council District 3, and it has so much impact on the residents that we just don't realize.
Matter of fact, I know obviously a growth is happening right now in the Deer Park area of North Charleston, and that District 3 runs from Old Transfer Road all the way out to Brickyard Plantation in Mount Pleasant.
It's a stretch area.
Yeah, that's where Vanessa Hill lives. You said that you obviously want to do hope, action, and results. What do you hope will be results that you will take for District 3?
Hope, action, and results. We've got to be able to move forward past this COVID-19 and understand that we've got so many things in the community that we have need of. And I want to come to the table and say that I am active in the community, and so therefore take action, and I'm helping people get food and helping with servicing people during this time, so that we can show people that when they get involved with voting, that a difference can be made, and that these positions can impact their life and does have results in their life, whether they're involved or not.
Let me go back to that Deer Park area. Obviously, there's a lot of growth there, and District 3 really runs from Old Transfer Road to Brickyard Plantation. Yes. How worried are you right now about gerrymandering in that district?
So I live right there. Currently, I'm at actually Phosphated Rivers Avenue right now,
right.
And that's not too far from Deer Park.
Right.
And so that area, there's a lot of precincts in Deer Park that where people can go there and vote. And so right now, what I noticed was that in 2008,
right.
That district would look differently, and the current person in place ran as a Democrat in that area, and then after 2008, then the individual ran as a Republican in that area. But as far as how the district's looking right now, we're gonna see, because I intend to run in this primary right now. I'm working on the June 9th election.
Right.
So I'm hoping that people will go out and vote in big numbers, because we need to, and just get out, and we're gonna figure out how to vote, and I'm hoping that we can make it out.
How do you vote in 2020?
And that's what I'm saying. So in 2020 right now, during this time, it's the regular rules. So June 9th is the primary date,
right.
Which is the Democratic primary. That means that it's myself and there's 3 others running,
right.
And my goal is to get the most votes in that primary. And so the regular rules applies to the primary and voting, whether you're going to vote on election day or whether you're going to vote on absentee ballot day. And right now you can order a mail-in ballot right now. So a lot of people are going to be sitting at the house and at home, and they're going to want to vote. A lot of them are going to vote by mail, and you can either call it in,
right.
Or you can request it by online and request and fill out an application to then get the ballots to vote in the primary.
In the primary, obviously, as you mentioned, a lot of people are home because of the coronavirus.
Yes.
Let me ask you this: coronavirus versus campaigning. How do you campaign for Charleston County Council and still stay safe?
So right now, it's a lot of social media, getting the word out, and it's gonna be reaching out to people by phone calls or reaching out to people via Zoom messaging. And it's tough right now, but I am hearing a lot about the issues right now, and I am able to drive around in my car and see the problems And so there's problems in Mount Pleasant and Charleston that we can work on addressing, and there's issues in North Charleston that we can work on addressing. For example, I'm hearing there's a lot of issues with the Long Point Road,
right,
where that bridge is located,
right,
and a lot of people are going to be driving to riding buses when this school resume, and they're going to be going to the new Lucy Beckham High School, right, over that Long Point Road bridge.
Yes.
So there's a lot of things that I can be learning right now, and also working on dealing with.
What have you learned about District 3?
County Council District 3. It's a long stretch from North Charleston all the way across the bridge to Mount Pleasant, and it's a diverse area, and it goes from one college right by Charleston Southern University,
yeah,
down by this college right here, College of Charleston,
right,
and it's this area right here, and it stretches out into Mount Pleasant on the left-hand side. And so there's a lot of needs. There's a lot of constituent service needs, and so that's what I want to help with. I want to continue to be an ear to the people and figure out what the people what their concerns are. And I hear that there's a lot of concerns with small businesses. People are looking to get these small business loans, which I'm concerned about. All over the district, there's a lot of businesses in the County Council District 3, and they're trying to get the loans. And individuals are working to get to continue to get their pay and those kind of things.
Let me get back to Long Point Road.
Yes.
If you were on County Council today, how would you widen Long Point Road?
So Long Point Road is a state road.
Right.
So it's so on County Council, I would like to work with the state of South Carolina to come up with solutions. A lot of times what you'll find is that the county would put in budget, will put in some dollars, and the state will put in some dollars. And I want to be a voice for that need. Also, I want to be a voice for making it safe. For making Long Point Road safer to drive on, so that the capacity can be increased. Because when the schools open up, there's just constant traffic, and people love to go to that Boone Hall Plantation.
Yes.
And so it's a big need. I want to be a voice for the people.
That's right. How would you then work with the Ports Authority as far as widening Long Point Road?
The Ports Authority, reach out to the Ports Authority and see what their goals are, and reach out to them and see what their thoughts are and what their initiatives are on it, and then also how I'd like to also see how it's going to impact the port, and how the widening is going to impact the residents as well, because you have Sneed Farm on that side,
yes,
as well.
Oh yes.
So they've been there for a long time, and I always want to be a voice for the people.
Yes, sir.
I always want to be able to see what the people's concerns are. I want to be a man of and for the people, and the residents, that is, and so that everybody can come together and have good results.
How do you hope to get people together in Snowden when it comes to the issue of water and obviously sewer?
Yeah, so I know that's an issue. Snowden is a long. They've been there for a long time, and Snowden is off of Highway 17. It's not quite in the district. Right. It's not in County Council District 3. But what I wanted to do was speak to the residents there, and I do want to speak to a church right there by Snowden,
yes, and
see what some of their thoughts are. And so that's my plan. And whenever this COVID-19 stuff passes by, my goal is to speak to the residents on that end of town, and see how I can help.
Let me go back to what you said earlier. Obviously, when you talked with Colleen Condon, or recently, you basically said, hey, I'm all about public safety, growth, and infrastructure. What hope, action, results would you hope to get with public safety, growth, and infrastructure?
Public safety, growth, and infrastructure. That's important. So you're looking at the bus rapid transit as far as growth. Whenever you have the development, you have Rivers Avenue, and you've got the individuals would like to see the roads fixed out, to deal with traffic. Traffic is a problem on Highway 17, and so that's why we need the bus rapid transit. So public safety, growth, and infrastructure involves essentially how traffic is connected with the rapid transit, and how that impacts the people's quality of life, so that people can get around. So that's a big issue. So it's not just traffic; it's also balancing development with the rapid transit, and being able to get around and get to work, and be able to get be able to get to where they need to get to. So, for example, increasing the times of the buses, and also coming up with innovative solutions to decrease traffic.
Where is the balance right now?
The balance right now exists in that people need to be able to come out and get involved. So when you're looking at issues like the bus rapid transit,
Right.
they've been having meetings.
Right.
But the meeting that I went to, there was probably like maybe 10 people there. So that being the case, what's going to happen is that their voices will not necessarily be heard, because the way the process looks is that they have these public meetings, whether you're talking about I-526 or
Right.
whether you're talking about the rapid transit,
Right.
or whether you're talking about a major road project. They're going to have the meetings and they take people's comments and they put it into the process, and they use those comments to make the decisions concerning these projects. So that's why there's a big need for constituent services on county council.
On county council, what are the other constituent services that you're hearing about right now in District 3?
I appreciate the question. So another issue that a big issue of concern is the Pinehaven Library.
Oh, yes.
So people need the internet, man. People need the internet, and so people who would want to go to that library would like to see that library built in a timely manner. You know, we had library funds that went out
Right.
on the referendum,
Right.
and those funds should be allocated to that library, and it should be built in the way that the people wanted and voted on in the referendum.
In the referendum, when you look at that referendum from when it started to right now, what still plays in your mind?
The Pinehaven Library is just taking so long to be built. You know, what I would like to see is to have a library that's built in a timely manner in the back, behind where the current library is,
Right.
in the back,
Sure.
and have as many computers as we could possibly have, so people can get there and use the internet services. You know, obviously get books, but also use those rooms.
Oh, yes.
So we need to have it built. You know, the funds shouldn't be going to other areas, and so people can go over there and apply for jobs. People are going to need the internet to be able to apply for unemployment compensation right now if they don't have the internet at their house,
Right.
because you can't do everything on your phone. You know, on your smartphone. So people need the internet. And so I like to see that thing built quick.
How many funds have been going elsewhere versus coming to the Pinehaven Library in your mind?
In my mind, as far as the Pinehaven Library, we need to have that schedule. The schedule needs to be in a more timely manner. That thing should be moving forward quicker, and that's my goal. So on county council, I will work on day one to figure out where those funds are trickling to, why the timeline is taking so long to have it built.
Why the politics, Jesse?
It shouldn't be just politics. It shouldn't be about that. You know, the reason why I got into running in the first place was because I wanted to work on becoming a public servant and be able to serve the people. And when you look at the local level, those representatives should be serving the people. And so that's why I don't necessarily look at these positions as politics myself. At least I see it as public service. That's how we should have it. So that's why I talk about constituent services rather than the politics.
And you talked obviously about Rivers Avenue. There's a lot of issues there that people want to address right now. Obviously, people want a grocery store on the south end of the city. And of course, there's the talk of the old Naval Hospital. And as a matter of fact, I believe Bill Burr was just reporting this just the other day. And he basically, and here it is, State Representative William Cogswell tells him that it will take longer to find out if a company can buy the former Naval Hospital. If that particular company, obviously William Cogswell Company, can buy the former hospital. The agency's deciding it will obviously try to make some structural changes because it's being delayed right now due to the pandemic. What resources do you want to have in that particular hospital right now if you were to be on county council?
That hospital, that Old Navy hospital, should be used for the needs that the people have, right? So there was a time and point where that building was owned by the county, and that should have been used to go ahead and allow various services to take place, like homelessness, to deal with the homelessness problem. There's a big homeless issue in the area, and that building should have been used for those kind of services. So now, as it stands, since it's been essentially sold, there was a meeting where they put together plans of how they can be using it, and part of those plans was to ensure that there is affordable housing that's being offered in that area. So how does that happen? And again, once again, that's why I'm an advocate for the needs of the people, because the cost of living is so expensive in the North Charleston area, in the Charleston area as a whole, and in County Council 3. So we need to figure out how we can get more affordable housing units to be built and to be available for residents.
What incentives would you ask the developers to bring to those neighborhoods for affordable housing?
set aside. I'd ask that a certain number of units be set aside for affordable housing, which you use a formula in order to figure out what that looks like. So from the county, I'd like to see the county put forth actual funds, a housing fund, and expand the housing fund to then work with the developers in order to have affordable housing present.
When you look at Charleston County's budget right now, where can the housing fund go in your mind?
Where can that come from?
Where would your money come from?
That they need to look at. I need to look more at the budget. I need to look at it again. It's a big budget, So I need to look back at it again, to be honest.
If you were to look back at it, well, how much money would you try to set aside for housing?
Start off with, look at the model of the city of Charleston. The city of Charleston has put forth X amount of dollars downtown, and they want to have affordable housing take place. They want to build some and contribute towards it. So I like to look at that model. That's what I would do. Look at the model the city of Charleston has put forth in order to make more affordable housing available.
More affordable housing available, that is. What is the state of affordable housing right now in North Charleston, particularly in your district?
Rivers Avenue. There was an article that was put together that was talking about how the North Charleston area has one of the highest eviction rates in the country. So that's bad. That means it clearly shows that people are having problems with their housing costs. So it's in a bad shape. It's in bad shape because what we're seeing is there's a lot of companies coming into the area that's seeking to build and expand, and therefore it's causing the housing prices to go up. So it's in bad shape.
What companies would you recruit to North Charleston with the help of the city of North Charleston and Charleston County to bring a grocery store to the south end of the city?
These are some time-old, age-old questions, because what we need to see is people work together, right? Because we've been seeing this problem with the grocery store for years and years now, and so we need to see people work together, because that grocery store was supposed to have gone near the Pinehaven shopping center, and that didn't happen. So we have companies like the Piggly Wiggly, the Food Lion.
Sure.
I've heard the Walmart, a grocery store possibility, but I think Piggly Wiggly and Food Lion are really good options. But to make it a reality, we have to have commitments from the local representatives, that being the mayor, the county council, the city council, to come together and come up with solutions that's going to help people.
What other solutions would you have for the grocery store if a big grocery store, say for instance, apparently Walmart, if they don't come, who else would you bring?
Well, like I said, you're looking at Bilo, Food Line, Piggly Wiggly. Those are big grocery stores in this area. Or there's the idea of a co-op. A co-op's going to be hard because they don't necessarily have the current business model that's going to allow for a grocery store in the southern end. So that's why I would go to those grocery stores that exist now.
What business model should be there?
The same. My background is business administration,
right.
So you want to look at the marketing, how it's going to be marketed. You want to be able to have. They want to have enough capital to ensure that the grocery store can pay their bills over a certain period of time, and all those factors. How many people are going to come and attend? They factor in these different formulas to make it viable for them. So I think it starts from leadership. And I would want to promote the fact that it can be done, and there is a need, because you have grocery stores down North Red Avenue, right, off of near North Red and Remount Road. There's a grocery store right there.
Right. How viable is the 526 expansion in your mind?
The 526. There's a 526 expansion on the end of West Ashley.
Right, that one.
And then, because I was going to say, there's also the 526 widening.
And I'll get to that.
Pushing forward that.
Yeah.
So the 526 expansion viability. I mean, I need to see what's been going on, because I know that the county council has been going up and down with it. My heart does go out to the residents who owns that land on Johns Island. So as far as the viability is concerned, viability is going to come from the residents that own the land being for the project, right? Because people own the land. So like I said, my heart goes out to the farmers, and I want to speak to the farmers and to the owners.
If you were to speak to, say, the South Carolina, I forgot the name of it.
Dana Beach?
No. I mean, if you were to stand in front of the lawmakers in Columbia and talk about the expansion of 526 right now, what would you say, particularly for the West Ashley version of it?
As far as that's concerned, on that end of town, speaking to the lawmakers, I would like to first get the perspectives of those residents, and I would come to the lawmakers after speaking and figuring out what the residents' concerns are. Right? For example, the residents may be concerned with more traffic coming through. The residents may be concerned with conserving their environment or high growth around where they live, or the cost and pricing going up, exorbitantly. So since I don't own the land over there, I can't speak directly to that issue because I don't own that land. So that's what I want to come. I would speak to the lawmakers from the perspective of understanding what those residents would like, and I've heard both sides.
Both sides, and obviously, I was trying to get to the state transportation infrastructure transportation bank.
Right.
But what would you tell them right now about the 526 expansion, if you could?
I would tell them. Let's be concerned with how this growth could possibly impact the residents on that end of town, and it's not always about just pushing towards building. Let's figure out how we can have responsible growth.
True.
Let's look at the environment too.
Where should smart growth come in when it comes to the expansion of 526 on the West Ashley side?
Let's look at how the impacts. Let's do a land study. Let's do a traffic study. And let's look at a environmental study, environmental impact, and how that's going to impact the flooding, because we have issues of flooding all over the place. We see that everywhere. How's that going to impact the flooding to those residents? If we're building, how is that going to push growth? And then that growth ends up being a situation where, because there's higher growth, it floods the residents' properties that's there now. Let's look at that.
And when you look at the expansion, which is a talk right now about 526 on the Mount Pleasant side, where does your mind go to?
My mind goes to the impact to those senior citizens too, the senior citizens who are on the side of that 526. And not just talking about how that's going to impact, not just talking about how it's going to be impacting them as far as buying their house or buying this house. I want to talk about how it is that it's going to be hard for them to find a replacement to the house they live in now. They used to live in there. So once again, that's where my mind goes. I'm concerned for the senior citizens who lived there for so long, and it's ambiguous to them what's coming in the pipeline, what's coming up. And it's not just about buying the property. It's about I want to see their communities stay whole and remain whole.
And let me get back to the 526 expansion on the islands in West Ashley. Until the 526 expansion is completed, what other resources, transportation methods would you want to have? Flyovers?
Well, you have existing roads now. So what I would like to see is they could potentially put new, better roads in and out rather than just the 526 going all the way down. Because when you have 526 going down and extending, then they're going to also want to build on-ramps to that. So let's look at potential solutions to more roads and fix the traffic issues now. Maybe they need another light here or another light there, or so let's look at some of that.
And let me get back to the 526 side of Mount Pleasant. What programs would you bring to county council or ask county council to basically enact if they're to help those citizens who are trying to keep their homes?
Exactly. We have to look at which homes are impacted by that 526 widening project that's going on, and see if there is a good route for them where their houses are not going to necessarily be impacted too much. When I was driving down 526 on that end,
right,
I saw, like, when you would go down Daniel Island and further into Mount Pleasant.
Sure.
And I saw there was a good bit of leeway on both sides on that end in that beginning part. But as we go down, we'd have to see what exact houses are impacted by the route.
Let me get back to what you talked about earlier, and you love it, obviously, and that is small businesses.
Yes.
I know when you talked to Carlene, you basically said, hey, I want small businesses to drive. You said, to quote, the engine of the economy, small businesses.
Yes.
Where is the engine right now?
It's stalling, obviously, because a lot of businesses have had to close down. When you're talking about the governor's orders, they've come through and they've identified all these businesses that can't be open and others that are essential services. So it's slowed down a good bit. It's slowed down a good bit. And I actually spoke to a friend of mine who lives in Mount Pleasant, and but they have a business in Somerville, and they had to close one of their restaurants and keep the other one open. So these are just some examples that we see of small business, and they employ people, so they're concerned about people that they employ and their livelihoods as well. There's a lot going on with it
as well. And I know, obviously, in that interview with Carlene for the Porch Chats, which I loved.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And love the outside scenery and everything. Mm-hmm. But you basically say, hey, listen, we need better communication when it comes to the county. What particular initiatives would you bring to the county for better communication?
On county council, I believe that that all these elected positions should be connected with the people. They should have communication with the people and let the residents know what's going on. And I believe I might have mentioned this before. One perfect example was Palmetto Commerce Parkway Phase 3,
right,
where a lot of residents didn't know exactly how that project is impacting their lives until it was like in the postal career, because the postal career was following it. So on county council, I plan on having meetings in the community instead of just being inside the county building and saying, hey, come to the meeting, come to us and talk to me. I plan on going into the community, to the community meetings, and informing them after all this COVID-19 passes, and letting them know what's going on, being a man of the people.
Man of the people. And obviously, I know that you want hope, action, and results when you come to Charleston County Council if you are elected. What would you do exactly on day one to make certain that there are results?
On day one, I plan on looking at the various budget items. Whether you're looking at the library referendum, looking at where those dollars are going, and coming into play and let the people know on day one that I will be a person that's going to be in communication with them and will let them know what's happening. Be in the community.
In the community. Well, thank you for this interview. I really do appreciate it, and welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups. And again, I love the setup of the Porch Chats.
Awesome,
I don't want anybody to think that I'm, taking sides.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I love the Porch Chats, and I hope to do it outside again like this.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
good idea.
Yeah, thank you again, Jesse.
Yep, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Mm-hmm. Yeah.